Have you ever read a book that you really connected with, a book so good that it resonated with you and inspired you, even if it's been years since you read it?
Well, our next guest certainly has. In fact, Heather Reisman has decided to share her love of books with Canadians in a very unique way this weekend, and she joins us now. Heather, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. So glad to be here.
Okay, let's first off talk for a moment, if we could, about the power of books.
I don't think there's anything quite like a book to take you away from the moment of the day-to-day. Right? If you want to relieve stress, if you want to go on a journey, if you want to connect to somebody that you wish you'd always met, someone you'd like to invite for dinner, if you want to experience a different culture, a book is a whole world. And you know, I've been reading for a very long time. I started reading early at about 4. And to this day, there is nothing other than my family and children and grandchildren that bring me as much joy as being in the thrall of a great story.
I'm with you. I've always said a good book is better than a good movie. I love escaping into a good book. It is time well spent.
Yeah.
You have brought in 4 of your favorites?
Yes, and you know, I will tell you something. People always ask me, so what's your absolute favorite? That would be like saying, who's your favorite child?
Right.
Or even your favorite grandchild. So I don't have a favorite, but among the many books that have left a deep impression on me, I brought 4 for this special weekend when, as you know, we are going to be giving 10,000 copies of these away for free in order to just kick off what we hope will be a movement of people sharing their favorite book with a son or daughter or a best friend, and we want to just keep this going because somehow at this very moment there is so much stress from so many places, so we just want to inspire this movement of sharing and inspiring.
For sure. All right. You want to tell us briefly a bit about each of the 4 books you brought in?
Sure. So I don't know what order exactly you have them in here. Let me take a look. Braiding for Sweetgrass. Braiding for Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer is probably the most meaningful book I've ever read about the environment that is not a book about the environment. This actually allows you to feel a connection in a very special way to the world that we live in.
Okay.
So this book is about to become a documentary made by a very good friend of mine. I will never forget where I was when I read this book. Braiding for Sweetgrass is an exceptional piece.
Okay, the next book I think we have here is, The Kite Runner?
The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This, you know, takes place in Kabul, in war-torn Kabul, and this before the current Taliban retaking of Afghanistan. And it's a story of a young boy and his experience where flying kites take him. And then, of course, it brings you into the entire experience of what it's like to live in that country, which has been so war-torn and fraught, and most importantly, under rule that is just almost unimaginable to any of us.
All right, and then next we're visiting the Glass Castle.
Okay, Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This is a story of insane resilience. Insane resilience. A young woman who grows up in the most difficult circumstances, practically living with her family on top of a garbage dump in a very, very fraught household with a almost abusive dad, I would say, even though at some point she says there were parts of him that loved her. And her resilience, her incredible resilience. And I picked this book at this moment because I truly believe that 2 things are the coin of the realm: curiosity and resilience. And resilience is what we need in today's world.
Without a doubt.
And you'll be sharing all these books this weekend.
We're giving them away.
That's right.
We're giving away 10,000 copies.
Amazing.
Indigos and chapters all across. And the last one, which the Book of Longies by Sue Monk Kidd. She's been my favorite author, one of my favorite authors since she wrote Secret Life of Bees. This is an incredible story. So imagine it's a story set literally between BC and AD. The main character is a feisty, brilliant, fiercely independent female who happens to fall in love with a man named Jesus before he was Jesus. Story of her romance with him, which was an absolute coup de fou. Like, they saw each other, and you feel that electricity, and it's her story.
Well, those are 4 books that have inspired you. Just briefly, Karen and I brought in a book each that have inspired us, and I'm glad you mentioned resilience because that's a big topic of this book.
I love that book.
Yeah, it's called Grit by Angela Duckworth, and one of the things that I always turn to in this book is the fact that resilience is a skill that you can learn.
Yes.
I used to think it was just something some people had or were born with, but you can actually learn.
Oh, isn't that fantastic? That book is amazing. And what did you bring?
And it was hard to choose. It was really hard to choose, Heather. I kept changing my
I know
picks.
the green one.
I kept changing my picks.
I know the green one.
But I had to bring this because my mom read this. She passed it to me. This is Little Women. I then passed it to my daughter, and we all love the story and the values and the teaching moments.
Right.
And then I came in The
course.
Giving Tree, which I've read to my kids. And if you've truly loved, you are the tree.
Right. And you know, that's the kind of book you could read to a child.
Yep.
You could read it yourself and be inspired by it. And I want to tell you one thing before we go. So these were Heather's picks from some time. This book, which is just launched, called Impossible Creatures, it's such a beautiful book. This is going to be the next Harry Potter. So anybody listening who wants to inspire their young ones to read, let's say 10, 11, 12, Impossible Creatures. It was just released. So
okay, wow.
there you go. So
that's
if you're going
high praise. You heard it here first. The next
if you're
Harry
going
Potter.
in for a free book, you might want to pick up Impossible Creatures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, this
There
is
you
a
go.
great initiative and a reminder. It all takes place this Saturday right across the country, giving away 10,000 books. Heather, great to see you this morning.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me here.
Appreciate it.